It's been some time, and I'm finally ready to move on with trying to build the piano hinged platform. So I went ahead and I grabbed myself another 1/2 inch sheet of maple from Lowe's, and I had them cut it there. The dude absolutely fucking butchered it, speed ran that shit, so terrible cut, but whatever, not a big deal. I'll just sand it down. This is the sheet that I'm going to be using. It's the exact same size as the top part of the drawer. And I got myself a nice piano hinge here. That's pretty much all I need for now. I imagine that I have to recess this wood a little bit, because if I just screw it in as is, then the wood isn't going to sit flush. So, gonna have to figure that one out. Before I could really install these hinges, the most important part is the prep work, right? So I really spent my time here to measure the exact center. I don't want these hinges to be in a bad place. So went ahead and measured what the center would be and traced around it with a pencil. Got it all ready for that. As far as I understand, in order to make this flunch, I have to take into consideration the barrel of this hinge. The thickness of this is about 1/8 of an inch, pretty much 1/8 of an inch. So I have to make a cut 1/16 of an inch deep into here and another 1/16 into there. This is exactly in the center of this board. This board is about 70 inches and this is a 48-inch hinge. Now I just need to make this 1/16 of an inch deep. We'll see what I can do with the tools I have at hand. I'm thinking I'm just gonna try to use a circular saw just to go through just this part. Might butcher it entirely. Who cares? You gotta try things to learn. I grabbed a test piece to do some test cuts with, and by sheer luck, the absolute lowest setting on this is a 1/16 of an inch, which is 1/2 of an 1/8 of an inch, which is the size of this barrel. Yeah, that got really lucky, because normally just this 1/4 inch is the smallest it goes, but you can force it all the way to the bottom, and 1/16 of an inch. So that was the one, that was the 1/16. So yeah, just gonna start with just cutting out a 1/16 of an inch of the outer edge. Big bike guy, look at him bike. Had my buddy stop by and surprise me, so decided, screw this project, gonna hang out with him instead. And, revisited it a different day. Off camera, I did a little bit more cutting, and surprise, surprise, circular saw did not work super well. It worked great for outlining where the cut needs to be, but then you can see it's a 1/16 here, and it kind of like dips down a bit and then kept going, and over here I actually lost a big chunk, but that's okay. Learning experience, not the end of the world. So I went with a different plan, and that is this router kit for my Dremel, which, wow, I didn't know this existed, but basically converts my little Dremel that I have down there into a router. And then the deepest that I cut it was 1/8 of an inch, and it needs to be a 16th. Luckily, I didn't go deeper than that. But I got these 16th inch pieces of wood, and I'm just gonna use them as spacers after I use the router to get a clean 1/8 inch cut. For all of that, I'll use the 16th inches spacers. Yeah, so excited to try this. This is a neat little product, much better than buying a router. Since this was my first time using a router, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I watched a couple videos beforehand and got ready and set up and just gave it my best shot. But in the end of the day, it's actually a very simple tool to use. In this use case, I set it up in a way where it follows the edge of the piece of wood, so it cuts a nice straight line, and it wasn't struggling at all. It wasn't really performing poorly, so I just started to use it and followed the line. And because the bit wasn't wide enough, I had to do multiple passes, right? So once I got to the end of one line, I went back, readjusted my spacing with the edge of the wood so the router bit would be a little closer to the next row, and just kept repeating that until I cut the whole thing. Dude, I'm really satisfied with this. Routers are super, super cool. This little mount for this Dremel is, man, 5 stars. Really, 5 stars for that. And it was only like $20. Couple little low spots where I was holding the router weird, but now it's all nice and uniform, except these little parts which are too deep. I'm gonna fill it in with some wood filler, and then take some of these little sheets I got. It's a little lower, and you get this guy on. Boom, perfectly flush with the side right there. Just what we want. Huge dub with the router attachment for the Dremel. Wood filler. Cut these to piece to layer them on. Then we can screw in that piano hinge and start working on the other piece. After I let the wood glue dry, I sanded it down, got it all nice and even, ready for the little wood shims, I guess you could call them. Yeah, but these little wood shims were just something I bought on Amazon. I think they were originally intended for some like little hobby crafting with small pieces of wood like this, but they were the exact thickness that I needed, 1/16, so they worked fine in this use case. Pretty much all I did was just cut them down into 1-inch wide strips. Obviously I couldn't just glue this whole square piece on, I needed it in strips. And for the amount I got, I didn't even really need that many. I wish I could have bought less, but you know, I guess it'll be good if I mess up again or something. Yeah, but simple stuff. Just cut them down, got them ready to be applied as little spacers.
Beautiful.
In my euphoric state to reach hinging nirvana, I guess, I forgot to take into account that screws can go through the wood too, not just into them. So, of course, I didn't account for that, and once I already screwed it through, it was too late. So, I had to grind the excess of the screws on the other side. Not a big deal, a little ugly, but we're here, gotta deal with it. I guess we're just recording with this washer on, man. Gotta wash clothes and film. It is what it is. What?
We just started flying your flip-flops.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Guess he thought the flip-flops were attacking him. I feel like I'm opening like a mystery box chest. I just ordered this brand new Harley engine. Yeah, I gotta put some ear pro on. That's too loud.
Dude, you're ruining the vibe.
You're the one that came here. Yes, dude. Change the angle up now. Cinematography. So in the last clip, you probably heard there was a bit of like a click or a bang once I opened up that piece of hinged wood. That was a piece of the wood catching onto the drawer, like the main drawer, just because the tolerances were too close. So I ended up popping the whole hinged piece off just because I had to varnish it too, but took it off, dealt with that little tolerancing issue causing the click, just cleared away a bit of the wood to help out with that and not click anymore. Then I went to varnishing. Varnishing, of course, very simple. You just brush it on, cover the whole thing, make sure the surface around is clean and the surface on it is clean. There's no runs or anything, but had to wear a mask. It does get pretty stinky. Yeah, you get, a head rush from it, but that's not a head rush that's worth it. Whew. All right, that's a good stopping point today. Pretty proud of myself. I got a good amount done. Hit this with some of that spar urethane, and as always, looks so gorgeous. Love how it looks. Made sure to apply a little bit in that part that I routed on the box, and just gonna let these dry, and then we'll continue on. But yeah, pretty happy. Almost there, boys. Almost there. Well, I reinstalled everything and put it back in the truck and secured it. And it's nice, but guess what I didn't think about? I didn't think about the fact that this has rounded corners. So when you try to lift this up, boom, it gets stuck right there. Yeah, that's really disappointing, but I'm going to have to cut just a little corner piece off of that. And I really don't want to take this out of the truck, so I think I'm gonna just try to cut it while it's still in here. Yeah, and it looks like it's just the smallest amount, just that one corner right there. So I'll slice off that corner and we should be good. Hopefully, but I bet now that I'm gonna eat my words, there's gonna be a problem with that side. That corner's done, but of course, I was right. More problems. Clears there, barely hits this right here. Then, boom, stops right there, because I forgot about how all this curves down. So I think I have two options. Either where it's hitting, I can notch it down a little bit like that, so it just clears this. But then I feel like I'm gonna run into more complications with this lip and maybe with this little third brake light. Or I can just cut this entire piece out and just make it a little shorter when I flip it out. Leaning towards just cutting the whole thing, but we'll experiment around. Yeah, I'm just being lazy. I gotta pull this out because, yeah, I cut that corner, but the backside is like really ugly, and I need to pull this out. I need to pull this out. At this moment, the rip fence was binding, and I had no idea why. It was just being weird and giving me a lot of trouble, but it turned out that, I feel so stupid looking back at it now, but I was just cutting through the lifting belt that was right below it. What was that? Ah! Fuck me! Ah, fuck me! Being so frustrated from the rip fence binding and cutting through the lifting belt, I just said, screw it. I'm freehanding this. I'm so over this. I just want it done. Okay. As frustrating as that was, it's finally done. Put it all back in, and then this side hit the top there, so I had to take it out again, cut that, put it back in. We're good. It's finally done. I'm a little disappointed that so much of it had to be removed to clear, but now, when I open it, clears perfectly fine. And it folds out to a platform. So the reason I had to cut it so short here, though, was because of this third brake light. But it's done. And I'm trying to look at the positives of it being cut. And one of them that I like to tell myself is that this will just be an access hole to anything under here while I'm sleeping on top. We'll just call it that, right? Regardless, though, I'm happy. I'm happy that it's finally like a nice platform. But obviously, this is sagging, and we have to do something about that. So my thought process for that is to put some foldable legs in, so that way raises this up, makes it level with this, and makes it more sturdy. So, I got some of these hinges, and they're like 90-degree lock-in hinges. So, in their folded up position, it'll be nice and sturdy. But once you fold the legs down, boom, it's nice and locked. They won't fold back down on its own while you're sleeping on top of there. And when you're ready to fold them, you just press the side button and you can fold it down. I got 4 of them because I want to put them on both sides. Kind of one leg here, and maybe something to bridge the 2 legs together. Up here, it's not so necessary since this is so close to the hinge. But back there, you can see that it's hanging since it's that corner's a little further from the hinge. So I think having just kind of 2 legs like that fold down should be good. I cut a little piece of scrap wood here. Obviously, I'm not going to use this because, I mean, look at this spray painted mess. But I just wanted to test it out, kind of measure. And I think that's about the correct height we need. Looks pretty spot on. So yeah, just gonna cut 4 of these. After that, I'll work on connecting them. I don't know if I want it all the way in the top to support, or if I want it a little lower so I can grab that little lock easier with my thumb through here rather than having to like fish under and do some BS like that. But we'll get there when we get there. Legs came out good. You can see 2 in the back, 2 in the front. This one is a little too low, but that's just because the wood is kind of curved up. I think once I put the hinge in, it'll actually sit flush on that. But yeah, looks pretty level, looks pretty promising. Next step is the hinges. Fingers crossed it goes smooth. I know it looks exactly the same, but take my word for it. I installed the hinges and it looks good. It's nice and sturdy now. Level. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So, a couple things I noticed though. First off, when I originally designed this piece is obviously longer than this piece because remember I had to cut a chunk of that. And I had it going right over the wheel well and using the wheel well as support. Since this side was cut shorter, there is no support from the wheel well. It's supposed to lay around here and lay flat on this, but it's not anymore. So now there's this gap here. I was thinking of adding something to help with that gap and so it doesn't bow that much, but if you lie down on it, you'll just have to see my POV here, but when you lie down on it, it bows, but it doesn't seem to bow a serious amount. So I think I can get away with not adding anything under there to touch the wheel well and just let it bow, because it doesn't seem to like creak or do anything weird under my own weight. I'm just gonna leave that as is for now. Another thing that I thought about, I earlier spoke about adding a little support piece here. The reason I kind of wanted to do that was I was thinking of removing one of those thumb locks and just having it on one, so it's all kind of one unit, so you just press it once and the whole thing goes up. But if I do that, you'd have a hard time like putting things in here because there'd now just be this bar in the way. So I was thinking I'm not gonna have a bar here, but I'll only have one in the back because it's really easy to, you know, from just standing outside, hit these thumb locks. Those ones are obviously kind of a pain because it's 6 feet there. I think I'm just gonna add one there, but leave this one empty. One more thing I forgot to mention. So all of these guys, obviously you have to fold them out once you go past this point here because it won't be able to fold down. But that back corner one, when I bring this down, catches right there. See that? So you have to like crawl all the way back there and kind of shimmy it into place. I don't quite know how to fix that right now besides cutting part of it, which I don't really want to do, but if I think of something, we'll address it. Got this guy back on. I removed the locking mechanism from over there, so now you just have to push on one side and the whole thing goes up and down. Yeah. Well, boys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're pretty much done. All I gotta do is just varnish these legs, whatever you call them. And oh my God, this project is finished. Finished in quotes, of course, because no project is ever finished, but it's at a good state. I think it's finally somewhere where I can start to enjoy it. Oh, man. We're here. We're finally here. I'm so glad that it's all good. I finished varnishing it. I put the legs back on, but it's great. It works great. This was quite the lengthy project for me. You know, it took me a couple months to do this just because I'm sure, like a lot of you, you just have life obligations. And it would have been sick if I could just only do this, but I couldn't, right? Obviously, I had to do other stuff and then squeeze in this when I had the time. At times, it felt really frustrating because there were so many roadblocks I ran into this, or ideas I had that just didn't end up working out. But you gotta just take it slow. That's kind of what I learned. It was worth it in the end. It's so great to build something with your hands, and even if you do get frustrated, that's part of learning. You're going to get frustrated. That's part of learning. This is my first like major woodworking project, so it was definitely challenging. I had to buy a lot of tools that I didn't have. learn how to use all those. One major thing is that it bows a bit when you lay on it. It's not terrible, but it's definitely something that I feel like should be addressed. But it doesn't make any noise, and it seems okay. It doesn't like creak or crack under pressure, so that should be fine. I'll just kind of play it by ear. And that little leg in the back also seems to catch, but now that I've added the brace, it seems to catch a lot less. So I bet you it doesn't even have to really be modified that much. Yeah. What else? Eventually, not anytime soon. I'd like to kind of convert the drawer part that slides out. I'd like to make it into like a little kitchenette, but I'm not going to do that right away. I think with this kind of project, you have to use it and learn what you need for your own use case. There's there's a lot of YouTube videos of like truck camping and stuff where I feel like they have like the sickest equipment right away, which A obviously costs money, but B, like, are you gonna use all that right off the bat? Like, how do you know that when you put that cool fork dispenser, it's actually going to be useful for you when you're camping? I think it's nice to have it at the state because now that I can use it, it's at a nice functional state. It's just some storage and a little bed. Then I could be like, oh man, this part would be great for the cooler, or this part would be great for like a little grill. So that's why I feel like it's kind of done because I can just start to use it, which I'm excited to. I've used it a couple times and it's just regular state, but with the platform it'll be a lot better. Yeah, that's I guess pretty much it. I'm just gonna start using it, and I'm happy that it's done. Very challenging, but very rewarding. It's always good to build something with your hands. It's very very rewarding to build something with your hands, especially custom and trying new tools and new techniques. And yeah, I'm proud of myself. It's good. I genuinely appreciate all of you guys, even if you watched like 1 second of my video. The fact that you even watched me, it's cool. It's nice to know. Thanks, guys. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much. Until next time.